from former to current. My next guest, Attorney General Maura Healey, has a lot of balls in the air, making moves on the opioid epidemic, sex traffickers, and the latest, the planned Wynn Casino in Everett. And the Attorney General joins me now. It's good to see you. Thanks so much for being here.
Great to be on, Tim.
So we heard yesterday you're trying to slow down the environmental permitting for the casino, the planned casino in Everett. Why? What's the deal?
Well, look, I'm not exactly trying to slow it down. What I'm trying to do is to make sure we've got it right, because we have only one chance to get this right. Here's the situation. That is currently the subject of agency review, looking at the traffic impact that this casino is going to have. To date, in my view, the study that was initially submitted is inadequate. Wynn's back at the drawing board. Now's the time to get it right. And what I am saying is they are looking to put a casino smack dab in a heavily congested urban area. They need to account for all that is around them, including 93, including the major transportation hub that is Sullivan Square, including the fact that proposed projects are underway in Sullivan Square and Rutherford Ave. Right now we don't have a study that accounts for that. It's a big deal. We need to take account for that, and that's all I'm asking.
Do you worry, though, you have no formal jurisdiction over this issue, right? You made a request to the Secretary of Transportation. So you have no formal jurisdiction. You live in Charlestown, which is affected, and you were a passionate opponent of the casino law when you're running. Do you worry that you're somewhat tainted in this thing, Maura Healey?
I don't. Others might, but I can tell you what this is about is the fact that we need to get this right. I wrote the letter. We submitted a letter to the Secretary because that's the agency that is going to make the decision, and so we think that's appropriate. What we do think is appropriate is that the agency, in evaluating things, not simply rely on a study bought and paid for by Wynn, but rather do the appropriate independent analysis that is routinely done on projects of this scale, because this is a big deal. It's going to have a big impact. So, I speak to this as the Attorney General caring about the public interest, and really with the view that we have one chance to get this right. Don't rush it. Do it right. Let's get the facts and the data and think about what needs to be in place so that as a casino gets built out, Jim, in that region, the build-out is with appropriate mitigation in place.
Understood. You know, very briefly on this, the mayor of Boston thanked you for protecting the people of Boston. Do you confer with him at all prior to sending this letter to Pollock, Secretary Pollock?
The mayor and I speak regularly about a number of things.
Did you talk about this?
We've talked about the casino in the past. I didn't talk to him before sending this letter, but, anybody who spends time in that area or travels along 93 knows that this is a mess in terms of the congestion and the real potential exacerbation of what is already a serious traffic issue. And so my position is, let's get it right. This is the chance to study it and get it right. You know, I note that out in Springfield and MGM agree to delay things a year to build in for the fact that there are going to be changes on that interstate transit system, 91. Well, that's a project that's already underway. Here we have a project that is not already underway. Now is the time to get it right, and I hope that the agency and that Wynn step up to do just that.
Maura Healey, one of the things you've been, when I use the word obsessed, I mean it in a praiseworthy kind of way. No, this whole opioid epidemic thing, which is an outrage. The one piece I just wanted to ask you about quickly is the Gloucester Police Chief has been celebrated for his approach. We had on the radio the other day, the head of essentially the drug czar, he doesn't like being called the drug czar for the president, was on with us, who actually used to work for the Massachusetts Public Health Department, as you know, and he was praising him too. And then I read that it's possible that the police don't have the power to say when a user comes in and surrenders his or her drugs, we're not going to guarantee you no prosecution, that the Essex County DA may go ahead and prosecute that person anyway. Is that possible?
Well, here's what I do know. I know that what the chief in Gloucester is doing is not dissimilar from what some others are doing in this area, which is really sort of recognizing that we've got a huge problem with addiction, and that as a matter of law enforcement and public safety, oftentimes the best thing we can do is to work to get these users, many of whom really desperately want help, into treatment. In the last few weeks, he's gotten close to 30 people into treatment who otherwise might have OD'd, might be dead, might be in a hospital. We don't know. And so I think that's good. I think that's appropriate. It's not going to work in every community, and our job is to work together from the Attorney General's office, District Attorney's office, police departments, on identifying ways we can protect public safety but protect people, because at the end of the day, people are dying.
But are you urging the Essex County DA to back off? Because you have this situation, it's almost like a bait and switch. The police department says, hey, come on in, give me your drugs, no prosecution, we consider this public health, not a public safety issue. They do it, and then they're prosecuted. I mean, it sort of undercuts the whole deal, doesn't it?
Well, I'll tell you, I haven't heard of that happening. I know that the Essex County District Attorney, John Blodgett, has worked really hard on these issues for years. In fact, I had a chance to attend a drug court graduation with him a few months ago. And I think, you know, we've all got to work together on this. I know we are working together on this. The point about more beds, more long-term treatment options can't be understated, Jim, because we've got so many people out there who want to get help, but we don't have the resources and services in place. That's why you see a lot of people, families, chipping in to pony up to send people out of state, and we just need to be doing more here right now. I
want to try to run through a couple of things really quickly if we can. The people who work in civil legal services have praised you for being a champion of trying to get adequate funding for people who have housing issues, family court issues, etc. We have the lowest paid public defenders in America. We have assistant district attorneys starting jobs making less than the custodians in the courthouses. Does this legislature just not get it? I mean, what's the deal here? How can they expect justice and to be protected when the people in the courtroom trying to make it happen are paid like nothing?
Our prosecutors aren't paid enough, our criminal defense attorneys aren't paid enough, our folks in legal services aren't paid enough, and I do think it raises issues of access to justice because of what the system incents. It is very hard to stay in these professions and in these jobs when you can't pay your bills.
Right, as soon as you're good at what you do, you've got to go to...
And isn't that a shame? Because we lose people as they gain experience. If they want to have a family, God forbid they want to buy a home, it's just so difficult. So I am a huge proponent of more funding for attorneys that way, because at the end of the day, the jobs that they do, you think about the role of an assistant district attorney. You think about the cases that they are grappling with.
They're representing us.
Day in and day out. It's so important that we support and find ways through funding to better support them. Legal services, absolutely, because we pay for it in the long run. The more money spent up front on legal services to help people with disability benefits, housing, the more we're going to save in the long run.
30 seconds, only 15 seconds each. You told me recently that Evan Falchuk's ballot question about the Olympics and tax money had been filed with your office. Have you gotten anything from Boston 2024 on the ballot front?
I don't think to date, but we continue. The door is open until till August for these ballot petitions.
And speaking of the door being open, and my apologies for giving you 15 seconds, the first openly gay Attorney General in the United States, when you heard the decision in the same-sex marriage case, just quickly, what did you feel like? Forget Attorney General. I know you filed amicus. I know you worked on What did it feel like as a human being?
I felt great. I cried. I was so happy. I was so happy for the country. I was so happy for the office. You just spoke with Attorney General Coakley, under whom I had the pleasure of serving and bringing the challenge to the Defense of Marriage Act. It's a great day for the state.
Congratulations on that. Good
Thanks,
to see
Jim.
you, Attorney
Great to
General
see you.
Maura Healey.